Get your daily dose of inspiration through our music. Follow jescom.ph on Spotify and Jescom Music in YouTube.
Radyo-Katipunan, 87.9 FM.
And there was another drive-by shooting.
The fire we reported at Liwag Fire Hall is still burning out.
Do you sometimes feel confused or lost in the complications and complexities of life? Do you feel drained, listless, or exhausted from the daily burdens and responsibilities? Why not seek our campus ministers on air every Tuesday from 2 to 3 in the afternoon? Listen to our counselors from the Loyola School's Campus Ministry Office as they ground our lives in our faith, in our school's spiritual tradition. Campus Ministers on Air. Be guided, be inspired, be blessed. Listen to our Campus Ministers on Air. Radyo-Katipunan, 87.9 FM. We are now on YouTube. Watch all of our live episodes plus exclusive content in our channel at radyo-katipunan FM. Don't forget to click subscribe and hit the bell to get the latest updates.
Jesuit Music Ministry, your daily dose of inspiration. Follow jescom.ph on Spotify and Jescom Music on YouTube. We are also on iTunes and Deezer.
Radyo-Katipunan. News, insights, inspiration. Radyo-Katipunan. Down from the hill and down to the world. Radyo-Katipunan. The voice of the Blue Eagle.
Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Voice of the Blue Eagle, kami di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpak at tama. Buhay atenista sa loob sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng eskwela. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Kawal ni Ignacio, Katipunero, sugo, todo sa kayod, tulong at tulong.
Let us understand mental health and explore how we can take care of our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. Welcome to your weekly slice of mental health tips and tidbits with Pat and B, here on Mind Ed.
Sa'yo sumisilong kapag ang puso ko'y pagod.
Radyo, 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 katipunan, radyo, katipunan, radyo, katipunan, radyo, katipunan, radyo, katipunan. The voice of the Blue Eagle, kami di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpak at tama. Buhay atin sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng eskwela. Radyo, katipunan, radyo, katipunan, Kawal ni Ignacio, katipunero sugo, todo sa kayod, tunong at tulong. Lipad na Blue Eagle, galing hiding at tigil.
This is your stop for all things pop. Catch our all-around pop culture geek, Cholo Sediaren, as he throws in some dose of what's poppin' and what's hot in the pop culture scene here on Popcorn. Munch in with us every Thursdays from 4 to 6, only here on radyo-katipunan 87.9 FM.
What's poppin', and welcome to Popcorn with Cholo Sediaren, your stop for all things pop, where we talk about all things pop culture from here in the Philippines to the rest of the globe. We are back! Welcome back, everyone. Nagbabalik kami at it seems to be a red day today. Wala kaming pinagplanuhan. Actually, ito na po yung Taylor Swift red Taylor's version episode. Just kidding. Pero we're back for a lot more of your pop culture news, and today we're also gonna be talking about The Suicide Squad, the latest version of the DC Comics film in the DC Extended Universe. But before that, kamusta kayo? Let's introduce our co-hosts for this episode. Welcome back, Paula.
Hi! Nice to be back, as always.
Yes, nagbabalik din si Mr. Jason Tan Liwag.
Hello, everyone. I don't know what to say.
Yeah. From the Twitterverse.
Okay, no, I'm leaving that for a while.
Another person from the Twitterverse, our resident news reporter. Verified. Mr. Summer Perns. No
Yes.
more. PJ Purnell.
I guess this is my that's my characterization here sa show. Mr. Verified. I'll take it.
Yes.
Sige, sure.
We're very proud of you.
And our very visible all the time DC fanatic and our resident DCEU stan. We have Dren.
Yeah, we got a good one. Spoilers for what I think, but we got a good one.
Yes.
We got one!
I feel like I'm a fan of a really bad basketball team when I say that.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
So ayun, kamusta kayo guys? Ang daming nangyari since we last had an episode here, and so much news, definitely, compared to, I guess, the first few months of the pandemic, which was season 1 last year. Medyo nawalan tayo ng mga pinag-uusapan, di ba? Pero ngayon parang may bago na araw-araw, ganun. Ano yung mga kaganapan sa buhay niyo?
I mean, we're in another form of a queue again. Can't even remember which one anymore. So, yeah, daming ganap. But I think like personally, same pa rin naman yung mga buhay natin. We're all still at home. We all really can't do much. So it's nice to have this at the very least, like getting to interact with people on some form of regular basis.
Yes, and ano pala, speaking of, like ganaps, congratulations to all our Olympic medalists.
Yes!
Yes.
Yes.
Ang galing-galing ng atletang Pilipino.
Yes, super nakaka-proud.
It blows my mind like how much like Hildelin lifted. She lifted like twice her body weight overhead, which is ridiculous. Like what?
The
Amazing.
Filipino weightlifting fairy. And here on, at least on radyo-katipunan side, we were lucky enough to be able to talk to her. And it was such a great experience to like congratulate her in person, quote unquote, on Zoom at the very least. And si Max, who's one of our co-hosts also, ang cute lang ng question ni Max. He asked her about her love for lipstick, and parang kasi Max also likes makeup, right? And she was asking Heidelin about how she what her favorite lipstick is, and Heidelin just really said na parang it makes her feel beautiful to wear makeup while she does weightlifting because, parang to some people, to some competitors, parang it makes them feel intimidated na, parang wala lang siya, naka-makeup lang siya. Pero parang pagdating niya dun sa stage, parang yung explanation niya and her parang sports psychologist, her part of her team, si Dr. Karen Ong, if that's correct. That's what they were saying na parang it's very empowering for Heidelin to feel beautiful while feeling strong and portraying that for all Filipinas and Filipinos in general. It's an amazing thing. Like, I'm not personally a sports person. The closest to sports I ever stand is like Haikyuu and the Wildcats in High School Musical.
Also red, by the way.
Natawa na lang si Jace, no?
Pero
Wildcats!
Don't forget the East High Leopards, di ba? It's for High School Musical, the musical. Anyway.
Leopards ba sila sa series?
What? They're not knights
anymore.
Are they not knights? There were knights in the movies.
Those were West High Knights.
Yeah, West High Knights.
Oh, the East.
East High Wildcats.
Wildcats, yeah.
Wildcats.
Okay.
Wildcats, get your head in the game.
Sports, guys. Sports. Ayan, sports. Para sa
Scots
show
are
na
hard.
to. Pero, definitely like just seeing Heidelin and just like, oh my gosh, medyo naiiyak-iyak ako na parang, wow, where did this come from? But like, an amazing feat. So congratulations.
Full on bawling, TBH, when our anthem played.
And not just her, seeing Nesty, seeing
Carlo.
Carlo, EJ,
Everyone, yeah.
Everyone.
Every single one of them.
Marjeline, an icon on Instagram and
I love
TikTok
her.
everywhere. She nakakatawa yung meme niya na diba, na parang she saw Tony Hawk and people are like really confused because they didn't know the meme. That was just really great. So, I mean, congratulations. And anyone else want to say their piece on the Olympics before we head to other news? I think Purnell covered a lot on the Olympics.
I did. Because like the last time we had a show, it was days before the Olympics.
Yeah, before the Olympics.
And then since then, for the past 2 weeks, I've just been in Olympics binge. I've been watching as much as I could, like since I woke up until I've been watching replays until like midnight because I didn't want to miss any of it. Yeah, I was really, and I really love sports and getting paid to do it, to watch them. Nakakamiss siya. It makes me miss watching sports live, like the UAP, like even SEA Games. Even the SEA Games, nakakamiss i-cover yun. But getting to see all of this, and thank God nasa Tokyo siya. It means I don't have to sleep late. But so I really enjoyed working and getting to see all our athletes get so much attention, winning so much, and grabe, nakaka-proud. And of course, I get to watch other athletes then, like got to watch Simone at least once.
Queen.
All the swimmers, all the amazing, the Jamaican women and the American women sprinters.
Sobrang wild.
One of the best ever. One of the
Parang
best
may
runs in
relay
history.
ba yun? Tapos
Oh my
nahulog
God.
siya, pero
And
sila
she
pa rin
fell.
yung nanalo. Parang
Yeah.
Crazy.
I swear, the last race by the American women, they put together a elite squad purely for the, like, it's not, they weren't trying to win a medal, they were trying to win the record. Because, like, these were the best sprinters in the US team, and they put them together just for the heck of it. I'm like, it's almost like it's cheating. It's like it's cheating. You guys, and they won the gold by 4 seconds.
wow.
4 seconds.
Wow, what
which
a
is
big,
big.
yeah.
And because of that, Alison Felix is now the most
Decorated.
medaled, decorated American track and sprinter. 11 medals. 11. Crazy.
It's really women, no? Women.
Women really won this. Like I think I saw if the American women were their own country, they'd be in the top 5. That's how good they were. Amazing. That's how much medals they won. Women really won this Olympics, I have to say.
As they should. Period.
They should.
But also, let's not forget Tom Daley and
Yes,
his
the
pressure.
knitting.
The knitting.
When I saw that, I was immediately like, this is a male character written by a woman. Like, this is what women want in a man. That's it.
I mean, and we did love Tom Daley since like 2014, was it? Na he first really became like, I mean, 2008 was his debut at in
I think the 2012 Olympics, yeah.
But 2012, was parang where people were like, oh, really like standing Tom Daley, and now it's like even more so with all the knitting and like winning
and his
gold
baby.
medal. Yeah, exactly. It's just really like, and parang I guess in general, an amazing feat in this pandemic to even pull it off at this point, because it's still a crazy world out there, and it's nice to be able to see some normalcy, unlike not like Lollapalooza or something like that, but like
oh my God.
pero yun.
Oh my God, that picture scared me.
That was like anxiety in one photo.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Shivers.
So yun, medyo mga themes natin ngayon, mga teams, red, but going back to women and the Philippines, this is a very hot topic right now on social media, and I'm sure many of our listeners right now are very aware of this because it trended 2 nights ago, Tuesday night, I think, because this ad by Gigil.
Yesterday. It was yesterday.
Yeah.
Lang.
And what do you call this? This is for Bello Medical Group. And we wouldn't want to show this apparently anymore. But just the gist of it is that it kind of showed, quote unquote, the effect of, it's like the hashtag was the hashtag pandemic effect, which the hashtag alone is very very out of touch, but the visuals themselves showed a super pretty like girly girl in her gym outfit sitting down on the couch, and as time flies by with all the news about the pandemic, she just grows uglier and uglier with pimple body hair, and like just growing bigger, and so many things spurred from that ad, and so many comments from netizens, even like especially industry people, and of course especially women. I feel like Paula will be the one to take the lead in this, at least for the first part of this conversation, because Paula is in the ad industry, and it's really like she is the spokesperson for women in this group right now.
Only woman in this.
Only woman in the room. Yes. Out of 99 people, there's one person. Anyway, so yun, Paula, take it away.
It was interesting because like when it came out, there wasn't a lot of traction then towards it, and I remember like commenting and then getting some of my comments deleted as well from the page. So that was like very interesting from the get-go, parang, and seeing Hayden ko replying to some of the negative comments, trying to defend, of course, their work. But I think, like that concept of putting other people down to empower yourself, it's just something that's been like done with in advertising in the world of media for decades. Like I wouldn't even say just a few years. It should be like decades now since we've done this. And for an agency that claims to be as progressive as Giggle is, with all of the awards and ads that they've done recently, that's been like very out of the box. It felt very out of touch, and I think like in the quest for virality, for that clout or to be discussed, they went completely the wrong way with this. It's hard to believe that, because the agency in the advertising industry is admittedly like filled with women. There's so many women in this industry, and it's hard to believe that in an industry as heavily populated with women, such as advertising, not a single one of them saw that this was wrong or like felt iffy about it enough to stop it from happening, to the point that unfortunately it got to this big scale, and to have that much publicity in the worst possible way for an ad that you've created to come to this. Ayun, there's a way to empower, and I understand kasi their insight na to take care of yourself. It's time to get back into that habit of self-care after so long. I get it, but there are several other ways for you to spread that message without having to imply that women or people in general who got bigger or may not have like the best skincare in this time would consider themselves ugly or not their best selves. Because I think if you are just trying to live every single day, then you are living you're being your best self in as much as you can in this pandemic. So it just felt super out of touch. I was very happy though to see a lot of like female creative leaders commenting on the posts. And well, we saw Bello's statement, which was released at 1 a.m, a very odd time for them to release a statement after all of that. And I hope that we get a statement from the agency as well soon enough, because this is very much their responsibility too. And we'd like to see accountability for that, for an agency with as much influence as Kikil does. Ayun, so that's me.
I mean, it feels like they went like what many steps forward and like 10 steps back with this ad. I mean, given their trajectory, but definitely it's very like irresponsible to put that out, especially at this time na, it's a very vulnerable time for a lot of people. And, it's totally fine to look however you look like right now. And to put that body standard, parang it's already 2021 na, alam mo yun, wala na yung ganong beauty standard to place. Na you could have, as Paula was saying, you could have already like maybe celebrated different body types in that commercial, instead of just putting like the one standard girly girl type na parang, oh, this is what you should still look like at this point. But that's not the reality. And let's just enjoy. Parang a lot of people, for us, we might be privileged enough to feel comfortable enough with our bodies most of the time, but we all have our days, right? I think Jace had a whole Twitter Spaces discussion on this usapang katawan. So what Jace, what do you have to say on this issue?
I just think that, I don't know, the politics itself of the ad is bad, like in my opinion, but then the ad itself is just not good. So parang, I don't know. I don't know. I think that when you go every day and you see like 10,000, 20,000 new cases, and then you release this kind of thing, right? It's like, why are people picking this time, right? To release something like this, I think that. And this is what I wrote in an article. Wow. Plug
it.
Pero like,
plug yan.
No, this is what I wrote before, which is
which you can read on CNN Live. in Philippines life. Yes.
Anyway, but what I wrote was that usually the problem with a lot of cosmetics or basta the systems that are co-opted by beauty standards and whatnot is that they usually prioritize the appearance of health rather than health itself. And I think that, being healthy, hindi naman siya mutually exclusive from beauty, but then for some reason, parang people treat beauty as like the superior thing, diba? And a lot of people are encouraged to subscribe to a particular beauty standard because they feel like they can't participate in the world if that beauty standard doesn't exist, if they don't actually subscribe to it, as in if they don't fit that beauty standard, diba? Especially women, which is, women are, merong sobrang specific na mga things socially for women, diba? Like you have to wear heels at certain events, you have to dress to a certain skirt length, you have to, and all of these things, right? And to a certain extent, a lot of women have taken back, these beauty standards and kind of reclaim them to a certain extent. So, people can wear makeup to, feel empowered, and that's a great thing. Diba? People can take care of their skin, and that's a great thing. But then, there are also all of these companies who take advantage of that reclamation narrative, diba? And wala lang, nalulungkot lang ako na like I think that for Bello to have released this at all is just sad, but then to have released it at this particular time is much sadder. And this is just my opinion as like an observer. Diba, parang they're basically saying that you should be like this. And honestly, for the longest time, so many campaigns have benefited from that. But because that promotes a certain level of exclusivity, diba? What you really diba, sell is a level of exclusivity. But then right now, diba, we're seeing that the exclusive market, like, it doesn't exist anymore.
It has
like,
been de-established. Joke. What do you call? What's that word?
De-established. I don't know. Or maybe it's there.
Slowly,
but then,
yeah.
Or maybe it's there, but they're already participants of the bello industry. So why would you target that market? Diba? So like as an ad itself, like it doesn't achieve its objective. And then it ostracizes the entire market that it's trying to sell to. So
exactly.
it really isn't very effective. So on the political side, parang on an ideological side, parang it's already bad. But then it also as an ad, it just doesn't
do its
job, create anything or reinforce anything.
Yeah.
Diba? It actually kind of it's just bad. I don't know.
Masabi lang, ganun.
Yeah, and then like I keep thinking back to like, wow, they really spent money on this. I don't know. It's just and I just wish for future ads and all of that. A lot of us are very wary of marketing strategies in general. I think there's a lot of power. I think there's a lot of power in those things. I think there's a capacity, not necessarily to spark some form of social change. I feel like to parang attribute that to just one thing is very, very myopic. Pero for people to parang anything that has some form of economic power and has some form of reach also has the same form of responsibility and accountability and also power to actually say something new. And I just don't think that the ad is really saying something new. Diba? I think it's actually saying something that's been abandoned for a long time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I don't know. I don't know. I'm not part of ad agencies. I'm just a consumer. I'm just a bystander. But then yun nga, parang come on guys, like you can do better than this. So I just think people can spend their money better on something, and it just I don't know. Yeah.
They got a really expensive director for this too.
And the fact that they got instead of using like graphic effects, they got an actual person to represent what is deemed as a bad body type. So parang yikes. This is really
and literally tinanggalan siya ng face. Diba? Like literally that's a form of like I don't know, removing some form of
Erasure.
identity, diba? Yun. So it's just, I don't know. Maybe I'm analyzing it too much when I can
No,
just
I
say
think
that
you
it's also
should.
bad.
No,
Like
yeah.
I don't think we can like just take ads at like a skin deep
Face
level
value, yeah.
anymore. It's we're done with that. As an ad person myself, parang I always try to look a little deeper then into what we're trying to tell our
Yeah.
target market, because we do have arguably the widest reach in any form of media because of how
true.
much budget is allotted for advertisements. So I think we do have that core responsibility, and I think people should be a lot more wary about the ads that they consume and be more vocal about, when ads do these things and make you feel terrible about yourself. To be quite honest, I felt horrible after watching the Bello ad. Like,
Yeah.
That is
It
why.
doesn't even make you want to go buy Bello. Alam mo yun, like,
why? It makes me want to just like stay at home and never see the world ever again.
Oh, and it's like,
That line pa from like one of the friend when she video called, it's like, anong nangyari? Parang napakasakit.
Ano
Like, it's such
nangyari?
a hurtful statement from anybody to say about you. Diba? As if
honestly, it would have been a more
downgraded.
effective. It would have been a more effective ad if she was just working and then before she goes to bed, like she just puts on Bello. Like that's parang remember to take care of yourself.
Exactly.
Parang, or something. Like that's so effective.
Yeah, that's better. Yeah.
Diba? And
There's
it's like,
so many ways talaga to go about it na ewan ko.
I don't know, girl.
It's
Or
just
like
not it, period.
Or like preparing to meet people for the first time, tapos ang makikita lang nila is mata mo, so you put eye cream.
So
I
like, ang
don't know,
ganda-ganda
like,
ng under eye mo, diba?
Come on, Bello. Like, hire
Welcome
us.
to our
Hire
brainstorming
us.
session for
I
free.
feel like
Bello, if you're listening, I just want to say, I'm kidding, no.
This is coming for our gig.
I'm kidding.
Ikaw
Not at
na,
all,
Vic,
not
kung
at all.
nakikinig ka, pakigalawang baso. Joke. Do better po.
Hey,
I
Bello,
feel like-
available.
I feel like it was one of those things that's like I'm not sure if you guys heard about the guy that made I almost said Call Me by Your Name, the anime. And then that was like a gigantic success, right? And he was just kind of this random director, not from a big company or anything. And then he did Weathering with You, which wasn't as good in my opinion. And a lot of people I think shared that opinion. And it was one of those things that I felt like the guy was so pressured to make something good again after after he made Your Name that he messed it up with the second movie and kind of lost the charm of the simplicity of Your Name. And I think that's kind of what happened. I've actually met the Gigil people, and they're nice people. That you wouldn't think like they would come up with such an insensitive ad, but that's all the more makes me think like, oh, they probably just had like all this success with what is it, RC Cola and just a bunch of like weird ads that they did, right? And they were, I gotta feel like they were pressured to make something good again because it felt like they had like this grip on, I don't know, social media or something. Like they were able to like meme with ads, and I don't know, I feel like they messed it up. they went a little too far. Not a little, they went like really too far with this and tried to make something funny and weird, and it just ended up being insulting. But yeah, I hope I agree with everyone that I hope everyone apologizes, and yeah, they just make better ads, man. Like what Jason's saying, it's not that hard to make a good ad, but I feel like they're
It is.
Oh, okay,
I just
sorry.
want to say it is.
It's very hard.
It's very
Okay,
hard to make a
sorry.
good ad.
But I mean, it's I guess like what? Sorry, that's not what I meant. I guess it's like just don't make an insensitive one, right? Yeah,
It's easy not to be like offensive.
exactly, right.
in
Yeah,
advertising.
that's what I meant. Sorry, like it's hard to make a good ad, but it's got to be easy to not be like mean and like sexist, and, like So yeah, I just hope they calm down a
we
little bit.
think it's
and-
easy, but for other people, it just doesn't cross their mind, I guess.
No, yeah, but that's what I mean. Like because I've met them, I have to think like it
I
was
get
something
it,
else.
yeah.
It wasn't like them.
Yeah.
It was probably
I
just
guess
them
that's
putting
why
too much
then it was
pressure.
hard for anybody to believe like that this came from this specific agency, because I
Yeah,
know
yeah.
people there as well, and
Yeah.
it was the last thing I expected from any of them.
Exactly. It's like why?
They
So
had such a good track record,
Mhm.
recently. Like,
Yeah, they have.
damn. Anyway.
So yeah, I guess Perns, any last words?
Nothing more that needs to be said. Just I guess I think that was what Paula was talking about kanina sa Twitter. Na Giggle still hasn't said anything about it. So yeah, let's accountability lang from the agency that came up with the idea, and hopefully we can move on from this with better intentions. Everyone.
Definitely. And speaking of women and battles, and we talked about this film 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, or a month ago na pala. It's been, time is just like really so weird right now that we don't even know what part of this multiverse we're in. Anyway, it's Black Widow. This is kind of old news, but let's just touch on it for a while. But Scarlett Johansson sued Disney for breaching the contract for the release of Black Widow, which was supposedly exclusively for theaters, but eventually became a double release. What do you call it?
Simultaneous release.
Simultaneous release between Disney Plus, the streaming service, and theatrical, which is apparently a breach in contract. But Disney just kinda ang pangit ng wording ng statement nila na parang, oh, it's so bad for Scarlett to say this in a global pandemic, something like that. Kind of like gaslighting.
Yes.
Scarlett's
100% gaslighting.
yeah. So parang, for a movie that was really like much anticipated by everyone. I mean, we're definitely as viewers sad that we aren't able to see it on the big screen as it was intended to, but this added layer and that gaslighting from Disney itself is kind of like, why? I mean, you own half of the industry already at this point, and like there is a contract, and so parang yun yung nagiging issue ngayon, or naging issue. And since that time, there are rumors that Emma Stone also wants to follow suit. Padumtis. Follow suit with another suit. And but it's not only with the Disney corporation, also with I think
Jared
it's Paramount. Paramount with A Quiet Place too. I think John Krasinski
Emily
and
Blunt.
Emily Blunt were compensated for the simultaneous release of that film. And yun nga, Gerard Butler for Olympus Has Fallen ba? Tama?
Yeah, for the Fallen series, yeah.
Yeah. So what are our thoughts? I mean, definitely I feel like we all are on the same page on this one. Go Scarlett. I mean, Asian representation, definitely. Just kidding.
I was about to say nga, parang, you know what? I think Disney has a point. No, it's terrible. It's not terrible. Yeah, I have like a hatred of Disney just because, like you said, they own like half the market, and I think anytime that happens in any sort of like competitive, like it's like film, right? Like I think it does kill a little bit of a part of me dies inside every time, because it's like, yeah, they're just dominating and dictating. It's like, how can you be greedy on top of that? It doesn't make any sense.
I mean, I feel like they could have already just settled like behind the scenes without saying any of those public statements. Like, honestly, hindi naman siya, I don't think it will affect Disney's business
at all.
Yeah, for sure.
To pay Scarlett what she's due, and also to even like get bad publicity from this. So why even do it in the first place?
My major thing is that if they can do this to one of their biggest names, Scarlett Johansson is an A-list celebrity. Everybody knows who she is. They can do this to someone like Scarlett Johansson and Emma Stone. What can they do to everybody else that works for their company? Right? That's my thing. So I think it's a major win for the entire industry. I think.
Yes, it is.
Should Scarlett win this battle?
Yeah. Definitely.
Because it sets a precedent for everybody else, which she has already done just by suing them. So it's not that we want Scarlett to win because we really like Scarlett. It's just we want the mouse to lose. Like,
yes, we do. I mean, like, these studios should know. They should know how to take care of their talents, naman talaga. Like they're the reasons why na we are able to. They're partially the reasons why we consume what they give out to us. So like, just pay their due lang. And that's why I have to applaud talaga na ScarJo really did this. She stood up to Disney, and demanded what was right. Like, I've been reading a lot about it, and there is a chance that she might not win it because like there's some like the wording and everything like in the suing and the contract. But like, but the fact is na she came forward with this, and now many others are planning to and have. It shows na a lot of studios wala silang takas. Like they should know better. So I hope na actors and actresses of whatever ever big they may be, they'll know na may halaga talaga sila. If they know their worth of their talent, they should get what they
And I
deserve.
don't think parang any one of her stature nga would just randomly sue Disney for no reason, right?
For sure, yeah.
Diba? And yeah, Paula's really on point then in the fact that she sets the precedent for this. And we had this in 2014 when Taylor Swift pulled her whole catalog from Spotify because it just wasn't right. And that was already Taylor Swift. And that kind of changed the way Spotify would treat everyone else from then on. So to see this in, I guess, another bigger scale industry also that is movies is definitely a big win. And we are rooting for them. And, parang it's been a years-long relationship for ScarJo and Disney. So parang, hello, they made you billions. So
literally billions.
Jace and Dren, any more thoughts on this?
Well, I don't know. It's just natawa nga ako dun sa Asian representation joke because also Emma Stone, diba, is also guilty of like, taking Aloha, right?
Yes.
But I think that I agree that when a certain particular, I don't know, company is Disney still a company? Is it? I don't know if it's like just one, but a conglomerate. So this one thing monopolizes an entire industry. I think that immediately displaces so many other stories, right? And the usual defense against the monopolization of these kinds of things is that they're paying a lot of people, diba? They're providing a lot of jobs for a lot of people, and we're seeing now that A-list stars aren't being treated in a better way. And I agree with Paula's sentiment na if you could do this for A-list stars, what about the VFX people? What about the production assistants? What about all of those people? And alam ko na ang laki rin ng debate around Marvel and around yung mga Disney whatever na they use VFX because hindi unionized yung mga workers, so madaling exploit yung mga people ngayon. That's another thing entirely. But then I think what this just shows us is that with Scarlett Johansson's move, I think that it's important. That's important whether she wins or not, is because she opens up this avenue of how to necessarily proceed with these kinds of legal battles, and it sets this precedent of like, okay, if I want to sue someone or if I want to take legal action against a corporation about like this particular thing, there are so many articles now dissecting that, and that provides a map. That provides a map for a lot of people on how to navigate this very, very tough landscape. If anyone knows anything about like film and whatever, they should know that parang actors technically are lowest rung, if I'm right, supposedly lowest rung. Unless you're a Hollywood celebrity, like unless you're a Hollywood like A-list celebrity, right? Unless you're a movie star, parang generally like sobrang baba ng trato sa'yo. And usually, diba, like in most cases here in the Philippines, parang, well, hindi naman sobrang baba yung trato. I would hesitate to say that. Pero siguro hindi lang necessarily binavalue ng all particular systems or all particular projects yung creative input ng actors. Some people, they're just really hired to solve the problem or to appear on the screen. And the cool thing is that we're now seeing some level of also validation of yung creative input ng actors, especially such big actors, right? Like Hollywood actors. I don't know like what that has to say about this. I feel like mas immersed siya in the actual system. But then yun, I think that it's very difficult to navigate these things. I don't know. Parang ang petty ko sabihin na parang ayoko manalo si Scarlett Johansson just because it's Scarlett Johansson. But I think that's because a lot of people are saying that, right? Parang they would want whoever is filing this to win, except it's Scarlett Johansson. I've heard that a lot on Twitter. And sige, valid point yun, I guess, for some people. But then I think that if she does win, I think that makes a great case for like so many of these other people. Diba? Also, side note, contracts can be like reevaluated, especially given a global pandemic. Ang dami kong kilala na
That's
parang,
what they said, that they didn't allow negotiations daw. That's
so
her
parang,
biggest gripe.
diba? And it's like,
And apparently, sorry to add,
yeah,
but
go.
even Kevin Feige himself was apparently parang shocked that this happened, na yung simultaneous releasing. That's what I heard. But also to add
The
another...
head of Marvel Studios not know
I have
that it
no
was going
idea.
to be a simul release. Anyway.
But what do you call this? Another layer to this is actually a news article or news bit that came out yesterday also, that comic book creators whose stories they use in these comic book movies are paid only $5,000 and the thank you card for using their...
Yeah.
So that's from the level of Scarlett Johansson to the level of the people who actually like feed the stories of these billion-dollar grossing movies. So,
diba? And you just have to wonder, like, where does all of that money go? Does that go to another penthouse? Does that go to cocaine of some of these executives? It's like, come on. Sorry. Like, anyway. Yeah. I didn't mention drugs. But then, yeah.
I hate drugs. No, but like you're 100% right. Like I agree with everything you said totally. Even as somebody that is more involved in the industry, it like you mentioned, like the VFX artists and stuff. Like they're the ones that suffer the most. Like you guys said, ScarJo, A-list actor, and if she wins the case, I think my worry is I'm on her side because I want her to win because of the mouse, but I also hope that it has a ripple effect. I hope it doesn't just kind of stop there. Because like people only care because it's her, right? If a random VFX artist said like, oh, I didn't get paid my due and did overtime, like nobody cared about the Sonic the Hedgehog team that fixed Sonic and had to close down shop because they were forced by the studio to fix the VFX in like 2 months or something before the release. It just sucks that it stops there a lot of the time, and I hope it doesn't with this. But we can only hope because it is Disney. They could pay everyone, and that is the hope. But they could also just make it go away because they have that power.
From a legal standpoint, though, if ScarJo wins, then it sets a legal precedent.
Yeah.
Her case can
for
be
sure.
used
For
diba,
sure.
to reference any other future.
ScarJo versus the mouse. Black Widow versus the mouse.
Let's go media law classes. I'm the only reason why I know these things. But yes.
Yeah.
So I guess that's it on this issue. But in the theme of wearing red and Black Widows and all those red themed things, let's talk about Taylor Swift a bit, which we also mentioned, and who released the 30-track track list of Red, Taylor's version, a few days ago, and had people actually solving crossword puzzles like they had no right answer. And it's just exciting. I mean, definitely hindi naman siya super, wala naman tayo maraming masasabi about it until it's released, but great news. There's a Phoebe Bridgers collaboration from the Vault tracks, and also another Ed Sheeran song, which is the first song that Ed and Taylor wrote before everything has changed.
Yeah.
And the legendary mythical 10-minute version of All Too Well is gonna be on here as well. So good news for all the Swifties, and sumakit yung ulo ko kaka-crossword na yun. Thoughts on this? I know Jace is a big Swiftie on here.
Okay, you don't understand. You don't understand. When Fearless, Taylor's version, dropped, like the album, this year, I played Fearless for 48 hours, dire-diretso.
Oh my
Wow.
goodness.
As in the not the album ha, the track. As in just that
Oh my
one.
Wow.
And then as in parang nakahiga lang ako and I was crying. And then I moved on 2 days after to The Way I Loved You.
Oh my
And then which is my and then later Other Side of the Door. Like I'm really excited for this album. I think that it, and someone said this on Twitter and I super agree. I really love how Taylor is framing this whole re-recording process. Like she frames it like almost like one, a scavenger hunt. Two, she frames it as like a fun Easter eggy like journey versus like so many other artists na frame nila na, oh, I got cheated out of my album, like this is me trying to parang reclaim my narrative, parang that, of course that's still there, but then it takes kind of a backseat and it prioritizes na there's so much in this album for you, parang there's so many reasons for you to buy it, right? And I just really like that. So Red is I think my favorite Taylor Swift album just because State of Grace, like
That opening.
yeah, ano pa ba, like Sad, Beautiful, Tragic, all of these other like amazing tracks, like obviously All Too Well is like amazing, but I'm really excited for this. Natatawa ako because technically she'll have this and Fearless up for album of the year, right?
Which she rejected. She rejected
Yeah.
the nomination, or at least she
For
said
both
she
of those
wasn't
albums.
submitting it because on its own, Fearless is already the most awarded country album in the Grammys. So parang she didn't feel like adding to that anymore, or because it's kind of, there's only like 6 new songs in that re-recorded version anyway. So I mean that's good for her. She's not like being greedy about it in that sense. Na parang, and she parang it's retaining the, what do you call it, legacy, and also the parang purity of that first release pa rin, regardless of what happened.
Okay. That would have been so funny kasi like imagine if like sino ba yun? Olivia Rodrigo or whatever gets like bumped off of the Grammy charts because of Taylor. It's just diba? Like because of a Taylor re-recording that most of the people grew up with, like damn. Anyway,
Twitter will explode. Twitter
Right?
will explode.
Right. Anyway,
I almost want to see it.
But ano naman, parang it's really, you're right. It's nice that Taylor isn't using that angle anymore. That's where it began, definitely.
Oh yeah.
But now it's like completely about the fan experience and like just being parang nostalgia na lang siya. But at the same time also, we are talking about this in the Fearless Taylor's version episode, na it's a way for new fans also to reintroduce themselves to the older work that they may not be familiar with. Especially like I saw this TikTok of a teacher parang with a student who's like in parang grade school yata, who said na, oh, I'm listening to the new Taylor Swift songs talking about Fearless. And then parang it's just like parang that cycle is back up because of the re-released version. So it's just nice to have that. And of course for the older fans, like there's I think 7 new tracks on this one, and the others are Taylor Swift versions of songs that she wrote for other artists, such as Big Red, ang pangalan nun? Let me just go back to that.
I think Ronan is here, right?
Ronan is here.
I love that song. I love that song so much.
Yeah, so those things, it's just nice to have bonus content, and she just really works really hard. And again, I always say that as a music industry person, it's Taylor Swift is really the marketing mind and genius that I really look up to, because nobody else really does it on her level, at least in my opinion. But there are other people in other genres that are definitely doing it differently in their respective genres and their respective countries. But at least in the pop Hollywood led genre, then this is probably like top tier na talaga. Anyway, I think Paula, do you have any thoughts? Because I think the older Taylor Swift albums are Paula's like
You're
parang
being
more
super
favorite
shady
album.
by like calling
No,
me
no, no,
out.
no, no.
Okay.
No, because diba parang mas gusto mo yung mga older
Ayan na,
Taylor
backpedal
songs.
na, backpedal na.
Wait, I just want to say, what a year for Jack Antonoff.
Oh yeah.
What a year. Anyway, wala na. Go Paula, go Paula.
Oh,
I didn't even want to
Comment.
say anything. I was like fully ready not to comment on this. I mean, I'm just waiting for the 10-minute version of All Too Well, and that's
That will
all.
destroy me.
That's all I'm going to say about
which
Taylor
is probably
Swift.
why she left it last, like the very last track.
Ugh.
Must be
It's
why.
the only thing I'm going to listen to on the track.
It's like here's 29 songs and here's the grand finale of a 10-minute All Too Well. Are we all ready for that? Probably
And
not.
I don't know.
the only thing is like it's about Jake Gyllenhaal not bathing.
Oh my god. God. White people are so gross. Like that was just my main takeaway with the
Yeah.
whole what's her name? Like the Dax Shepard issue. And
Kristen
then
Bell,
just-
yeah.
I think Kristen Bell.
We don't beat our kids sometimes. What?
and themselves as well.
Yeah, I was like, dude. I don't care if it's colder in your country. It's gross, man.
Right?
Stop.
Right? Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway, sorry, Jake, if you're listening. They're part of our listeners, right? Kristen, Dax,
Yeah,
Jake.
most likely.
Hey guys.
Jake, if you're listening, I love you. I think you deserve All Too Well. I'm kidding. No, I don't.
Just like please take a shower. Like
Take
he
a bath.
really
all-
remembers it
You were-
all too
yeah.
well.
You were great at Nightcrawler. Please take a bath.
Please take a bath.
Anyway, yung kanta pala na mention ko kanina is Better Man by Little Big Town, which was a demo that didn't make it to Red originally, and it went to Little Big Town and it won awards. And now Taylor Swift is also releasing that Taylor version of that vaulted track. But anyway, also speaking of the word red and the theme red, we were talking about this on our group chat. Idris Elba released a red colored character on his poster on his Twitter, and it is Knuckles for the Sonic sequel. Any initial thoughts on this?
Yay.
I love Sonic. I love Sonic so much, like the character, and I love the movie.
The
Even
movie
though
was
it's-
really fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
And I really wanted it to get a sequel because I love Jim Carrey as well. And I wanted them to come back as Dr. Robotnik. And I knew they had to bring in Knuckles. And I was thinking, who are they going to cast as Knuckles? Because there's a weird accent. And they decided on Idris Elba. And I just watched Suicide Squad, so it's all coming together. I love Suicide
Yeah.
Squad. I thought this is a little preview for later. I love Suicide Squad. I loved him as Deadshot. I think it's perfect.
Ang ganda ng team natin, no? It's all connected. Hashtag it's
Yeah.
all
Bloodsport.
connected. And
Exactly.
funnily enough,
Bloodsport.
Idris Elba appears on Taylor Swift's album in the song Gorgeous.
Oh,
Siya
is
yung
it DJ?
nagsasalita.
Oh
As
yeah.
DJ Idris Elba?
Yeah, that's just Idris Elba saying some British intro to the song
Oh, okay.
Gorgeous. And because they were in the movie Cats together.
Oh, right.
Oh yeah.
That
Um,
happened.
Yes,
Right.
that happened.
Oh right.
So,
Uh,
yeah.
Yeah. Again, I just sound like a major like Sonic apologist or whatever, but I love it. Can't
Well,
wait.
it's a fun movie. Don't
It was
apologize
good, yeah.
for liking it. I want
And
to
it
see.
was our childhood. I don't see anything wrong with like being obsessed with Sonic.
Naalala ko pa yung speaking of Olympics also, yung Sonic Olympics Happy Meal.
Siyempre sa Wii. Yeah.
Sa,
Oh, I
ano,
didn't see
sa,
that.
sa
Ah.
Mukto, and those were Sonic themed. So, speaking of Olympics, that's a nice memory also.
Mhm.
And I guess before we head to the Suicide Squad, one last thing related to also Red in some way is Robin or Tim Drake. The Tim Drake iteration of Robin has come out as bisexual in the comics after how many years was it? 67 years.
81.
81 pala, sorry. So,
Season.
in this new comic called Batman Urban Legends #6, there was a quote unquote light bulb moment between Tim Drake, Robin, and his friend Bernard, where the just TLDR. I mean, it's a short strip that you can read online. Parang there was a spark between them when they were fighting alongside each other, and si Bernard asked Robin out or Tim out, and he said yes. So I guess we'll see. I think there's gonna be more developments on this storyline come December in the next issue. But thoughts? I mean, yes. Period. That's it. I mean, I think there's been a long running joke for Robin, whatever Robin iteration there is about being Batman's gay sidekick or something like that. But it's nice to have one of the many people who have the Robin emblem on their chests actually have that representation, because we have the different we have like Damian Wayne, who's Batman's son, and all those Robins out there. But to have a bisexual at the very least for such an iconic character is really great for the LGBT plus community. So any other thoughts on this?
I believe Damian Wayne is asexual. That's always just been my belief, and I will stick to that, especially given this Tim Drake narrative.
I mean, he is a child, right?
I have nothing really thought. I hope the DC does, they just don't drop it. Like ganun lang. They don't drop this storyline. Like, I hope the reception makes them realize na how pivotal it is pala to have this kind of representation in someone like Tim Drake. Tim Drake's Robin talaga. So I think in a way na parang how a lot of people related to Raven when in the Teen Titans show. I think this could go the same way if DC plays their cards right. So hoping for the best.
I hope that seeps into like larger mainstream DC outputs or like media, like in Harley Quinn, the animated series, she has a relationship with Poison Ivy, right? So to see, maybe that would be an avenue for Tim Drake to have that storyline, because Harley Quinn herself has that storyline in that show. So I hope there's a bigger platform for this story also moving forward, and not just comic books, which are definitely not really as widespread as TV shows or films, no?
Yeah. Or kahit video game man lang sana. I mean, with the new Gotham Knights coming out as well. Could be something we could do with it.
Yeah, so I guess that leads us to, if anyone else has anything to say, ang ganda ng mga natin, connections to the rest of
to the red
the red element. We
Somehow,
just winged it.
somewhere.
No planning necessary. Now we're talking about the Suicide Squad. Emphasis on the or the.
Oh.
It's like the school that we know and we love.
Not that. Sorry.
The Suicide Squad, which is a 2021 soft reboot of Suicide Squad in the DC EU or the DC Extended Universe, and this is helmed by James Gunn, who, after some controversy over at Marvel Studios, found an opportunity at DC to create his own crazy, insane, absolutely chaotic world in the Suicide Squad. So I guess first let's talk about the first David Ayer Suicide Squad.
Do we have to?
What?
I mean, it's definitely, a divisive topic among people, because some people who are more casual moviegoers enjoyed it naman as the action IP that just showed Harley Quinn, Joker, and everyone else. But syempre, a lot of hardcore fans um, didn't necessarily enjoy it because of the treatment of the kind of music video. Like, that's how people describe it. It's like a music video, just showing different parts and different characters. And yun, parang recently with the release of this current Suicide Squad, David Ayer also posted some words because of I guess because of the popularity of this year's Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut. Some people are calling for
The Ayer
David
cut.
Ayer
Yeah,
cut
yeah.
in the Ayer. Uh, na-exhaust sila dun. Anyway, yeah.
Buti na lang hindi naka-on camera mo.
Some people have been asking for that because David Ayer himself has said some sentiments about the theatrical cut not being his vision, and the studio. I mean, kind of like in a sense, Zack Snyder, that sentiment na the studio meddling got in the way of the vision of what the movie was supposed to be. So any fleeting thoughts, RIP Fleets on Twitter, any fleeting thoughts on David Ayer's Suicide Squad? Ako, after I watched the Suicide Squad or the James Gunn version, I did a rewatch and I survived a rewatch of Suicide Squad 2016, and I honestly thought I guess it just did its purpose and nothing much more than that, of the purpose of having a random blockbuster popcorn movie featuring the Suicide Squad characters, and that was kind of it. And I would say, props to that movie for giving birth to the Harley Quinn we all know and love, and the revival of the Harley Quinn character in the mainstream media. So parang I guess it kind of just was there and did its purpose at the very least. So that's my take on a year's Suicide Squad.
That movie gave birth to Harley Quinn, but it was such a like hypersexualized version of her.
Yeah, not a good version of Harley. Yeah.
When the first time I saw Suicide Squad, I liked it, and I didn't realize how much everyone hated it until after. Because whenever I would talk about it, they would be like, "Oh yeah, I hated that movie," and I'd be like, "Ah, yeah, same. Not really. I liked it." But like I know a lot of people who don't like it. That's totally fine. I get it. But I do admit it's a bad movie, and I like it, like not because it's a good movie. It's definitely one of those movies that's like, it's bad, and I only like it as like a guilty pleasure type of thing. On David Ayer like having that statement, I read like his long like rant on it on Twitter, like everything, and it isn't very professional because it's like it's like people's court type of thing, so it doesn't look very good. But at the same time, it's also like, what other choice does he have? And I just hate that there are people out there who really like bully him to an extent and say like he's literally the worst like director of a superhero movie ever, things like that, which is insane because there's a lot of really bad superhero movies out there. And yeah, people say like, oh, Suicide Squad is like garbage and stuff like that, and I feel like it kind of turned into a meme, but not like the funny kind, like the mean kind, where it's just kind of cool to hate on David Ayer and Suicide Squad. And he had enough. He's a great director. He's obviously done stuff before that, and it's fantastic stuff. And I think it's unfair for him to be judged on just one movie, especially when we all know that DC was, all of their movies were kind of bad at that point. That's like pre-Justice League, except for Wonder Woman, everything was bad. And I'm a fan of the DCU. Everything was bad. Like Man of Steel, it wasn't good. So it's like,
it's okay.
Well, why do we all hate this one movie in particular? It doesn't make any sense. And I have to chalk it up to like the bad side of cancel culture. So it sucks, and I don't know if I want him to get the David Ayer cut because I'm not sure what kind of precedent that would set for people. Like you just gotta go back and fix your movie. I don't know about that mentality. I think when you made a film, you just have to deal with the consequences. Basically, I'm sure like Martin Scorsese would like to go back and redo Passion of Christ, but he's not gonna do that. So yeah, like it's. I'm on his side, but I don't think he should get to do the Ayer cut because I don't know what kind of precedent that would set for other filmmakers. But yeah, I like that. So.
And I guess in terms of like the Suicide Squad, parang it's kind of more flexible versus Justice League na you really kind of had to like defend the Snyder Cut in some sense. Na parang Suicide Squad is kind of like the B squad in that universe in terms of like, syempre, the Justice League yung panlaban mo sa Avengers and in this Marvel versus DC world, but you're right nga na parang it's forgivable to just like let it pass and just like accept it for what it is.
Yeah, and another thing is that Zack Snyder wanted to finish like Justice League, get a very good reason for leaving and coming back, right?
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah, so that's it. That's all I want to say.
Also, like, it's been years. Like, why is David Ayer only saying this now?
Exactly.
Right? Like, he could have
really
done it like a year after the release of Suicide Squad na, my vision wasn't like, respected by the studio, ganyan. But it's just, the timing was just really off for him to go on that rant when the success of the Suicide Squad was like coming out. So, yeah. I think like this.
Sana Snyder Cut came out na lang, no?
Yeah, pwede rin, di ba? Makiride na lang siya nung time na yun. I don't know. It's just weird timing. Although, like, as much as I didn't like Suicide Squad 2016, and I think a big reason as to why it's the most memed DC movie is because the trailer was so good. So everybody's expectations of it were like super high, especially after all of the mess that DC had made thus far. And then when it came out and it became like a giant disappointment, I feel like people were just super let down because there was hope. And then you took that hope away from them.
That's true.
I think that's why. But I think it was just wasted potential because you had a really good cast. Right? Like you got Will Smith as Deadshot, Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, and everybody else in that movie was great. I mean, Viola Davis's Amanda Waller is to me like was the best part about Suicide Squad 2016.
Yeah.
And that was the height of like How to Get Away with Murder.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Diba? Jared Leto's Joker notwithstanding for that film. But, oh god. So weird. I rewatched Suicide Squad a month ago and it's like, no, this is just as bad as I remember. So I mean, if anything, I'm just happy that it gave birth to these characters that we now know very well. Boomerang, I think, like, and we'll discuss this more later. Boomerang was he's such a great actor, and I wish we got more time with him in general for both these movies. So yeah, if anything, I'm thankful that Suicide Squad 2016 gave birth to the Suicide Squad 2021. And if there's anything to be thankful for, it's probably that.
And I guess on that note naman, in terms of any types of redos, this is the redo that the Suicide Squad 2021 is like, instead of like giving more money to the Ayer cut or whatever, this is just like trying to resolve that parang I guess public sentiment on what has been done with the first movie, which isn't necessarily connected to this aside from being in the same universe with the same characters. But yeah, where do we begin with the Suicide Squad? Well, I guess the fact na it's James Gunn is already like a pretty solid choice in terms of where this was heading. But parang just that first sequence, that first big sequence alone was like already like an indication of what was to come in this whole movie. Anyone want to begin on that discussion? Paula?
It was crazy. Like, I knew that they were gonna kill like 80% of the cast in like the first 20 minutes. I didn't expect them to kill them off in the first 5 minutes. Like, that was insane. Like, watching that was like, I had no idea what I was coming into when I started the Suicide Squad, and that set like a really good tone for the rest of the film because I knew that like whatever I expected from it was just gonna get subverted anyway. So it was great. Weasels Dren. It was so funny. It was so funny. Like, it was so good. As in literally laughing out loud when he was drowning. But yeah, I mean, I think it's if they continue on with like sequels, I want it to be like this. Like just get like a bunch of A-list actors and then kill them off in like the first 5 minutes of the film. I want it to be like a continuous thing.
My favorite part about
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that my favorite part about Weasel drowning is that Weasel is played by James Gunn's brother, Sean Gunn.
Yeah.
It's so funny to me that they were like, "Hey, I want you to be in my
Hey,
movie." As what?
Die.
Weasel.
Just do the first one to die.
From being a stand-in raccoon to now being a weasel.
Amazing. Amazing talaga.
Yeah.
I wanted to see more of Pete Davidson as well. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, spoiler alert of people who died. But yeah, I kind of wanted, as Paula was saying, Captain Boomerang to at least
yes,
live a while longer because I thought he was
Great
going to be
actor.
like, at least, I mean, in terms of villains naman, Captain Boomerang is not necessarily an unknown. So parang that was a choice to like just get off him in the first 5 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god, Nathan Fillion as well. Because like Nathan Fillion is a geek god. Like to everybody who is like who was a nerd in like the early 2000s, Nathan Fillion was the guy. So to kill him off in the first 5 minutes and to give him a character like PDK.
Oh, it's so
was that?
good.
It was so good. Sorry, I loved it so.
Like there's this thing in cinema that I think a lot of directors try to live by, which is that all the scenes in your movie, but all the sequences rather, or scenes in your movie, especially the opening one, have to encapsulate the entire movie as much as possible, so that the tonality remains the same. And Suicide Squad does that perfectly.
Perfectly.
The first 5 minutes is perfect because it captures the intensity, the seriousness, with Amanda Waller, that great scene with Deadshot in the war room, and how Amanda Waller's messed up and is willing to kill
Isn't it Bloodsport?
Bloodsport.
Yes.
Sorry, my bad. I guess I'm not a fan, but my bad. But yeah, Bloodsport and Amanda Waller. So it captures that whole the intensity, but it also captures the absurdity. John Cena's character is so stupid. It's such a dumb character. His name's Peacekeeper, but he's not. That's like his. And then
he's the antithesis of his name.
He has that line in the trailer about eating penises on the beach, and it's perfect. It's so good. And
that would mean like saving everybody. I
would do it, for liberty. And it's like, what? Like nobody would. And Ratcatcher is the perfect foil to that. She's like the heart of the movie, as James Gunn said, because she says like, why would anyone do that? She's the only one with like common sense. And yeah, I actually really like the fact that they kill like 90% of the first squad when it comes in, because that is what Suicide Squad is about. It's not. Because in the first one, it's kind of like two of them die. It's like, okay, well,
yeah,
that's kind of sad. But it's supposed to be like Rogue One of Star Wars, but times 100. Like they die. Like everyone dies. That's the whole point of it. And they have they do a great job of building up certain characters so that they all feel like they do something useful, right?
Michael Rooker.
Yeah, even though like some of them are kind of like you are comic relief, they're great comic relief. Like Weasel, like we said, he's awesome. I feel like James Gunn, I have such a strong belief in horror movie directors, and that's where James Gunn came from. And James Gunn is the guy who did movie 43, which is like the worst movie of 2013, and then he did Guardians of the Galaxy, right? So it's like really his ability to hit or miss is really like up there. But his background in horror movie directing is what made him perfect for this, I think, because he wasn't afraid. He wasn't afraid of blood. He wasn't afraid of the effects. He wasn't afraid of killing everyone. And on a note for like the future of the DCU, I feel like that's where they're going towards, is just getting a bunch of horror directors and letting them do their thing. Like James Wan and the guy that did it. I forget his name. It's
Andy Muschietti. Yeah.
So I'm such a believer. I'm sorry. I wanted to go last because I was thinking like, I'm gonna have a lot to say, but never mind. I'll just like jump in, whatever. I love it so much. Okay.
So good. So good.
But I think, in general, what this movie does so well is that it's not. I think the new direction of the DCEU at this point is that they don't really care too much for now with the standalone movies being too connected to the rest of the world, and it was just like an open playground. Like surprising to know that James Gunn just got the green light to do all of this in parang with such huge scale and be able to pull it off, right? Of course, we have the Harley Quinns of it all, but to be able to just get all these like obscure characters and make something out of them, and also like that wild choice of a villain in Starro also, and that Starro villains. It's just like really parang alam mo yun, they just went ham on it and they allowed him to do it, and without any like it's kind of loose na parang where does this fall in the timeline. I think in the timeline it's kind of more like definitely after Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey, but aside from that we don't know what happens. Parang there's no like connection aside from the characters, and
Yeah, we're like the little girl. Nobody cares.
It's like a comic book.
Exactly.
When you pick up a comic book issue, you don't know where it is in like the grand scheme of things.
I
And that's what
hate
I
it.
like about it.
Yeah, I really hate it when like in the Marvel movies or in the DC movies they go like, why did you get Superman to do this? Like, we don't care. Stop.
Yeah.
Or like, where's Thor? Where's Hulk or whatever? It's like, man, it doesn't matter. Stop it. So I agree.
Like it reminds me of the superhero movies from the 2000s where they were all just doing their own thing. Like we didn't need it to be connected to anything else, and we were all just having fun.
Yeah.
And I like that the Suicide Squad did this.
Yeah. Rather than like trying to do what Marvel did, because they own that. They have that. Let them have
Yeah, that's
that.
theirs. Sila na yun.
Exactly. Stop trying to
Yeah, and
copy it.
parang yun na nga, you can just come in and just watch
Yeah,
it without
pioneer. Don't
yeah,
copy.
exactly.
Yeah.
So Jace, I think Jace has something to say on this.
Oh, I just think that I think that DC kind of found fun again. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I just feel like all of the other iterations before weren't centered on fun. You know, like you know what I mean? Like for example, Man of Steel. Man of Steel was very self-serious, you know. And I think that the previous Suicide Squad was also kind of self-serious.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And the thing is, like, I think that one of the reasons why I hate to compare them because like, diba? But like one of the reasons why Marvel kind of is like people gravitate towards it. It's really because it's a fun watch. You know, it's something that you will watch with like a bunch of your friends, and you'll throw popcorn at the screen whenever someone dies, or something like that, right? But with this yun nga, it's like it's fun again. I know that there have been other fun like DC stuff
Shazam.
before,
Shazam
like
and
Shazam,
Birds of
yeah,
Prey.
right. But then, yun nga, I think that this just shows that aspect of it. Side note, super interesting na medyo si director din si James Gunn ng Guardians of the Galaxy 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Both
Isn't-
Guardians.
Yeah, isn't it the same villain technically, like Hive Mind?
Oh yeah, he's
The
like a
second
god
one.
because he
Yeah,
owns
the
a planet.
second
He is
one.
a planet.
The
Right,
Go,
right, right.
yeah. I
Yeah.
know,
So
yeah.
like it's so
This
wala
was
lang.
better though than the second Guardians film.
Yeah, yun. I also just think na someone described it very, very aptly. I won't say who. But then someone described it on Twitter very aptly na parang it's like everyone had either no script. They were just told like this is like your objective as a character.
Yeah.
Just say whatever you want. Which I think
So good.
in a universe wherein all of the media that we consume, all of the films, the TV shows are so meticulously like placed,
Yeah, I know,
like
yeah.
everything has to have like a purposeful line, or it has to have like a
Well crafted.
and really they just let the characters have fun. They are mercenaries. They're kind of I don't know if mercenaries is the right word, but like they're all from prison, like they all literally have nowhere, it's like their first time out, and it's like they have nothing better to do technically, and yung maganda about it is that everything that's happening is like supposedly high stakes,
Yeah.
but then how the characters treat it is super low stakes, which is great. I think that's great in a superhero movie because if you're a superhero, extraordinary shit is pretty normal, right?
Yeah.
So wala lang. I think that there's the level of fun. There's this level of like almost improv. Na they literally can say anything and
It would
will
make
work
sense.
because charismatic yung actors. I think that that's the other thing. I think that before,
Good casting.
yeah, I think that before in the previous iterations, they were so self-serious and it kind of almost they all had to kind of dull their charisma to fit a particular tone of the universe. Does that
Of the
make sense?
Snyderverse.
God, Henry
that point.
Cavill as
Yeah.
Superman.
Oh,
Best
and
example.
it's like, diba? And Henry Cavill in like Man from Uncle is amazing. Like as in, diba? Like wow, sobrang charismatic niya. Like he just enters a room and it's like, whoa, diba? But then I don't know. Like I think that here it's pretty fun and I don't know. I'm not always. I don't always necessarily think that maybe me as a film critic slash as a writer, like I really like it when things try for something new, but then I also super respect things that go for something that's just really really effective, and I think that this is really really effective. I think that in a pandemic setting, like you're consuming all of this like super self-serious stuff, and then you just really want something you can watch not brainlessly, because I think actually that merong intelligence yung show. I think that it's very self-aware, which is why it's funny even if the moments aren't supposed to be funny, right? But to a certain extent, na parang you can just allow yourself to watch it, and it's captivating enough na you don't want to watch it while you're washing the dishes or something. That's characteristic of like a Netflix show, right? Like a Netflix show is like it has a lot of dialogue, so you can imagine what's happening. Diba? Versus here na the dialogue and what's happening is kind of completely opposite.
Yeah.
Right? Like they're walking through a jungle and they're talking about, sucking dicks on a beach, right? Or like they're showing each other off and everything. And they're showing off, diba? Blood spurts.
Oh my God!
Diba? Nagbabarilan-barilan lang sila. And then,
Tapos
diba?
nakampi pala nila yung
Diba? And it's like, but yeah, diba? And wala lang. I think it's so smart. And the way that it kills off like certain characters is also pretty, it's pretty earned. Like everyone's like deaths are pretty earned. Everyone's lives are pretty well earned. Yeah. I think it's fun. I would recommend it to like friends so we can watch. Tapos feeling ko like we would do the same. Actually, the fun thing is like how the film starts, which is that they're all placing bets, right?
Yeah.
I think that's something that people actually do. Diba? People actually like in real life would do like when they watch a movie like this, and that just tells you that they kind of know their audience now, because most of their audience will most likely be younger generation, diba, fans na I don't know. Ayun. Yeah. I think this would be fun, and then it would be a great drinking game.
Oh,
right. Like you could have a great drinking game while watching this movie. Yeah. Which is, I think that the film is kind of built for that kind of audience. I don't know.
And
Which is
speaking
our
of that,
next popcorn episode, us having a drinking game while watching this.
While watching Suicide Squad.
yeah, ang tawag dito, speaking of that, parang I like how they kind of got that format of the Arrowverse of like having a team behind like the Suicide Squad, and this parang behind Amanda Waller versus the last Amanda Waller who just killed off the people who were behind it. And it's just fun nga na to have that relatable human aspect of it, as Jace was mentioning. That was a fun part, and the part where I kind of was starting to call na what they were gonna do with Amanda at the end of it, and I was like, yes, that was just like very like I guess uncharacteristic if you were still in that old serious Snyderverse aspect of it, of the DCEU. Burns, any thoughts on general things?
I don't know. I remember because I just watched it last night for this episode. Yay! Like I remember na when I finished watching, my laptop was dying. It was dying but when I finished it, I breathed a huge sigh of relief. I was like, thank you God, this exists. I felt at peace talaga. That's what I felt. I had so much fun. It was such a fun movie. it was so chaotic, but I never got lost. Like, never ako nawala. Sobrang gulo niya. Pero like, it was so much fun. I'm just amazed in how James Gunn was able to do this. Na, if I recall correctly, na he's supposed to do a Superman, but he said no, I don't want to do that. And DC said, okay, you can do whatever you want. And he said, oh, I want to do a Suicide Squad. And I was like, oh my, okay, I see it. And now that I get to see it in real life, I was like, oh my god, it's like it's meant to be. The gore, the craziness, the humor, the heart and warmth in it. It's something James Gunn would do talaga. It's like he was meant to
And
do
of
this.
Misfits type of
Like, yeah, exactly. Like,
even
my
like
God.
Scooby-Doo way back was like that kind
Scooby-Doo
of
Guardians, man. This is he know, like, I don't know how, but he's able to translate it so well, and in a way na we us as audiences will receive it so well talaga. Like, he knows we'll have a good time. And that's exactly what this this movie gave me. Like, it gave me a good time. It was such a riot talaga. Like, it's exactly the type of movie I know that the whole audience in the cinema will be laughing together. Like, they'd be pointing, yun nga, they'd be throwing popcorn at the screen. In the first 5 minutes, I was like, oh my god, I'm just so happy na I got to see this. In a way na, like, siguro sa Snyder Cut, I was very okay, good. Now, there's this parang redemption na this vision that he had had finally come true. But for this one talaga, I was happy na, I guess because of the old one, but to see na these characters from the comics actually have some fun, but like they literally killed off in what they're, because that's what the Suicide Squad really is. Yeah. And I get to see these other not so famous characters get the limelight. Like, no one really knows who Bloodsport is. King Shark, he's not one of the bigger Justice League bad guys. Ratcatcher 2, these are such stupid names, but when you see what he's done with it, sobrang,
you really root for them.
You really root. How did he make it work? And it worked. For some reason, he made it work. So
it's like the James Gunn golden touch.
My gosh.
In terms of making obscure things like really like golden and parang just fun period. And tawag dito, I guess yun na nga, if King Shark, if you're familiar at least with the Flash series version, it's a highly intellectual like shark creature, but to make him like, to dumb him down into some sort of just himbo type of character was just really and voiced by Sylvester Stallone also, right? So parang it's just really like the choices.
They
So
got
good.
Sylvester Stallone to do that shit. Like, oh my god.
I'm in awe that they got him to agree to it in the first place.
I mean, he
It's
got
just-
Bradley Cooper to do a raccoon.
But it seems like more within Bradley Cooper's personality than like me seeing
That's true.
Sylvester Stallone do this.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, but to what Pern said, it's like a masterclass in filmmaking because, like the Pern said, it's not supposed to work. The plot is like cotton candy, like it's that thin. It doesn't make any sense. Like, there's a moment where Harley Quinn's like taken in as a princess because this dude falls in love with her, and it doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't make any sense.
Her
It
killing
doesn't
her
work.
boyfriend because of the red flags. It was
Exactly,
just
which is a
feminist
wonderful. That's such a
moment.
cool scene.
that was
That's
a great
such a
monologue,
cool
by the way,
scene.
by Harley. I love that
Yeah,
monologue.
it's a great scene, wonderful, probably one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie, but it doesn't make sense. Like it just, there's so many moments where they're all supposed to die, but they don't because wala lang, diba? But he makes it work. It's so interesting because, usually the story comes first. That's the whole thing. Like, story comes first. But this one, it's like,
Characters.
screw the story, characters come first. The cool, weird characters, like the polka dot guy and druggy Taika Waititi.
Dude, oh my god, the polka dot guy.
Polka dot guy who's like in the most random movies, but he's so good every time. I don't know what his name is.
I think his name is David
Desmalshan. David Desmalshan, yeah.
Yes.
And the thing that I love about Suicide Squad, which I wish movies did more, is that they don't like skimp on the budget. Like they spent on everything. Like there is a shot in the movie where they're partying in the club, and this dude who's obsessed with his mom, it smash cuts to like a 3-second shot.
The mom is so good.
Exactly, it smash cuts to a 3-second shot of him dancing with like 9 of his moms. They didn't need to do that. How much money did they spend on VFX to do that shot? But they did it because they were like, it's gonna look. You could tell that James Gunn was just saying, do it because it's gonna look sick. Like he doesn't care about why. He just cares that it looks cool. Oh,
And that was kind of like the heart of Polka Dot Man din eh, diba?
It really was.
The mom.
Basically, he needed therapy, and I think
Yes,
the
a lot.
Squad was his therapy.
Yeah, exactly. He was able to like not really get over it in the end, but confront it.
Yeah.
He gets stepped on.
Yeah. Oh my God. But his arc was complete, so I guess.
Yeah, I don't think you could have done anything else with that character.
Yeah.
I think what works talaga with these DC films that we all appreciate is because they understand the source material. Like it's not faithful. I don't think it's faithful at all to anyone.
no.
They understand like the whole concept behind it and the energy that these particular characters and stories have. So I'm happy that we have more of them now in the DCEU catalog.
More.
More.
We want more.
Like who doesn't want DC to do well, right? Like we all just
Honestly, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, we still do watch it, but seeing it do it at its best is like just really nice to see and like enjoyable more than anything. And I guess speaking of characters, as Dren was mentioning, Harley Quinn in this movie, of course, we can't not talk about that. This is one of the best iterations. I mean, this is the third appearance of Harley Quinn in the DCEU. I mean, definitely, I really loved Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey, and that was like a fun, that's kind of like post-breakup Harley and all that. But this
relatable.
One, that parang human, vulnerable moment of Harley just being a girl who's gone through some really bad relationships, not just really bad, but maybe like horrible relationships.
Really bad. Horrible.
I mean, she became Harley because of that anyway. But yeah, and that was just a really powerful moment for her to own that. And I think the respect also of James Gunn in this movie for him to, I think, see Margot wasn't comfortable having the tattoo damaged on Harley. So they removed it na from this movie. And also like the intricate details of the tattoos. I think the tattoo at the back of Harley Quinn's back, nagpalit din siya from, I forget what it is, but from Mr. J's something to nobody's something. Parang something like that, to that sentiment. So that's really great. Parang in the details pa lang. But in general, that scene where Harley was just like going all out with all the flowers, that was like an amazing.
I think it was so good because like for a lot of the perception of being girly is this one thing of like dresses and all of that. For Harley, her perception of being girly is like straight up murdering bitches. And I think that's great. Like the focus of Harley, like at her best, at her most comfortable, and showing her with all of these flowers and like these animated creatures running about. It was so good. And like this is what I want for her, really. Just to be respected the way that she was as a character in this whole film. So good.
Super small like thing, but again, it's a directorial choice that the James Gunn did. It made that scene really, really cool. Is that he didn't remove the blood.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people would have just done the flowers, and that I think that the scene looks completely different if you do that because it becomes like okay, she doesn't realize what she's doing instead of she totally realizes what she's doing, but she also sees the beauty in it, right? Exactly, it's totally different, and just that tiny thing that he does shows how masterful he is with his craft. He really understands what the audience is gonna get by doing certain things, and it's awesome.
And that whole scene of like her realizing that these people want to save her, that these people care about her, and she's like, "You can do it again." This is. I don't want to ruin your hard work. That was the vibe that I got from her, and it was just amazing to see.
I can go back inside.
Yeah, like you can do it. I love it.
After years of abuse and not being respected as a human person, the fact that she was validated as someone worth saving. even though she is a badass in her own right and she knows it, parang that alone was like a moment of just really like precious moments between characters who are more or less like disposable to this universe. And also,
Totally like yeah. Sorry, go.
Paula, yes, go.
Oh no, speaking of disposable characters, what was the name of the guy that they completely forgot about?
Milton, this is Milton.
Oh my God.
Yung very lang, nonchalant lang si Harley. Who's Milton? Is there a
She
Milton?
thought Bloodsport was Milton.
Milton. Who's Milton? Milton was still with us. Yes, he's been helping. What would Milton do?
I thought he was in the car.
I don't know. I thought it was in the car.
And then after Milton died, like when Bloodsport was directing everybody, he was like, "You got it, Milton." I'm like, "Girl, pay attention."
Exactly.
She's so good.
Oh my God.
Iiyak ako.
Pero also back to Peacemaker. Ang ganda rin nung like talking about the American society and how it's the antithesis to being Captain America, because I think Peacemaker was actually intended to be that type of parang Captain America gone wrong, doing anything in the name. Exactly. So parang ang ganda rin nung naging parang at the core of it, aside from having all the alien Starros out there, or like the Starro, what do you call those like mini Starros, like
babies?
The Starros, right? Yeah, the
baby
Starros.
Starros.
Yeah.
Parang
Smarros.
Parang at the core of it is also talking about the bigger like political aspect of what it means to be an American, especially right now. I think, especially with the cast of misfits nga and like different people like with Ratcatcher nga, and we haven't spoken about Rick Flag, who also has, I guess,
amazing.
Ang ganda ng arc din niya, but who knows what happened to Enchantress at this point, but
yeah, exactly.
Maybe she's just like out there somewhere, but
His last words also. So
yeah, Peacemaker. What a joke.
What a joke. Yeah.
I did not expect them to like show the heart. Like that was
even though the story doesn't make sense, the heart and the characters, it's all there.
Amazing.
Literally there. The heart's literally there.
Yeah. Blah. That great scene of him punching the thing.
Really good.
And the post-credit scenes, is also like, okay, I like how they didn't just kill him. See Peacemaker, because it's like, okay, how are you going to redeem this guy who is like the antithesis of like all the bad parts of America, basically? Which, by the way, is also mentioned by the the freedom fighter leader, who was like, typical Americans, you just walk in guns blazing. Yeah, which is great. So I really hope that they do something with Peacemaker.
And they will in a series.
In a series, yeah. And he also did that. January. So it's like, okay, how are you gonna redeem this guy? How are you going to essentially say, I don't think he's gonna say, I really hope he doesn't say, being America is a good thing, but I hope he says something like, we need to change as Americans, right? Which I really, really hope is what he does. And I knowing him, I mean, just based on what he did here with Suicide Squad, I really like have faith in him. He can also mess it up, but we'll see.
Pero ang galing din ni, I mean, I feel like this is one of John Cena's like movies na
best works.
Exactly.
My guy, that and like Trainwreck, I think, like so far, I think
Trainwreck.
Yeah.
So parang
everything except Amy
everything just really works at the end of the day. I mean, I feel like parts of it in the pacing I had some issues with in the beginning, but like when it got to the meat of it, parang, you know what? Who really cares about much of the movie making?
Yeah.
Let's just enjoy this and let's just have some fun and just have a good time at this point in time where everyone's just like really like depressed and really sad. So yeah, I mean,
I didn't expect like to fall in love with Ratcatcher too, or Sebastian.
All those rats, period.
It was a great one. She hasn't done a lot, but she's a wonderful Portuguese, I think.
Yeah.
Portuguese, yeah.
She's so
amazing.
Good. And labo lang talaga the scene at the end is like they like fit this thing at the end. It's like rats. If they have a purpose, everyone does. I'm like, what? That's the thing.
I love it.
But sure, Taika Waititi, if you say so.
Taika.
Druggy
Alam mo, Taika
Waititi.
Waititi is in everything right now. Like, the man is
Yeah.
so busy. But
He's
like,
doing whatever he wants and whoever he wants, apparently, because he's just
Yeah.
having fun.
amazing. Yeah. I'll watch this again and again and again and be happy.
I
with
I've seen it
agree.
like 3 times already. It's
Oh my god, Dren.
so good. And it makes me so happy because it's like I want to watch it 3 times because I don't know when the next one's gonna be. The next good one, I mean.
All right.
All right. So if there's nothing else that we want to talk about in terms of the Suicide Squad, I mean, definitely there will be a Peacemaker series spin-off
Yeah.
coming in January.
Oh wow.
And
Okay.
that's a really good, like, I feel like
They're wrapped already. On it,
Yep.
So they're just editing.
And I think this is an 6 or 8 episode
episodes.
series.
Where are they
Um,
streaming it?
HBO
HBO
Max.
Disney Plus. No, not.
Disney
tawag dito,
Plus.
yeah, it'd probably be a good deconstruction nga of that character and how they will go from here. And hopefully we do get to see more of these people. And I think to wrap it off, just in general, in terms of the DCEU, the DCEU parang future. I hope they do give Superman some sort of redo before they get rid of Henry Cavill as Superman. Wala lang, parang it's just, it would be nice to see a fun Henry Cavill Superman.
Oh, diba? He's part of Marvel. Marvel na ba? Tama ba? Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill? Has he done anything in Marvel? No, I don't think
Not
so.
yet.
I think he's still
Upcoming,
DC.
hindi ba?
Parang
Parang wala
naman
pa.
yun.
No, let me check
Wala
his.
pa.
Wala pa. You never know when these people
You
will
never know.
show up.
He's part of the Tom Cruise universe.
I loved
Anyway,
him in
go.
Mission Impossible.
Yeah, same. I thought it was great. Oh, he's doing Enola Holmes too. Apparently, that's his next movie.
The
Yeah,
second
yeah, yeah.
one. No.
Another
Okay.
surprising film that I didn't think I would enjoy as much. Enola Holmes. Anyway.
All right. So that wraps up our The Suicide Squad discussion plus all our pop culture news for the last few weeks. But of course, at the end of every show, we do have our pop stop or our pop culture recommendations for the week. Who wants to begin? I can begin if people will be thinking of theirs.
Go.
Yes, please.
Well, I was again. I'm always biased towards the people I work with, but I've been obsessed with this song called "Pasalubong" by Ben and Ben and Moira De La Torre for I have at
For
least
weeks.
for weeks even before it released, but now it's out for public consumption and it's just amazing. If you want to get in touch with your Hugot Filipino national anthem vibe feelings, then this is a song for you. It's kind of like the sadder or like the more somber twin sibling of Pagtingin. If Pagtingin is like a very upbeat, like ano ba to? Itong Pasalubong parang, you know, it's just really like about two kindred souls wondering if they're meant to be with each other or not, which I feel like a lot of people can relate to. And, you know, it's just really, you know, OPM coming together again. This is the second collaboration between Ben and Ben and Moira. And also, they have announced that the album will be coming out, second album will be coming out on August 29th with 6 collaborations with so many OPM stars, which I cannot reveal at the moment. The next one will be Mooney Mooney
Yes,
Ben and Ben,
Mooney
which is
Mooney,
coming out tomorrow at the time of release of this episode. So a lot to watch out. It's a great album, I'm saying already at this point. So watch out for Ben and Ben's second album, unnamed yet. I won't spoil the name. Baka mapatay ako dito. Anyway, other things, I think we haven't mentioned Fear Street, have we? Or have we talked about Fear Street at this point?
No.
I don't think so.
Haven't.
Well, anyway, I think maybe in the last episode, but anyway, again, Fear Street, amazing show. Amazing show. It's kind of like a show, a trilogy of 3 movies intertwined together based on R.L. Stein's Fear Street books. And it's just like really like fun getting back into the whole slasher horror movie. Not really tropes, but like kind of mixing it up and making it a bit modern. And it's just great if you love slasher movies, Fear Street. So yun. those are my recommendations. I will probably think of someone other people do this. Paula?
So I've been binge watching this for the last few days. Watch Miracle Workers.
Oh,
Daniel Radcliffe at just like living his best life, and I'm so happy for him because it's just this, like, if the Suicide Squad is like unhinged crazy humor, I would say the very same thing about Miracle Workers. Like all three iterations of this anthology, because they have a different plot every season. It's just so funny, like one of those shows that you don't really have to think about when watching and just appreciate the humor for what it is. And if you need any reason to like get into it, watch the clip of Daniel Radcliffe voguing the house down. He's so good, again, just living his best life, and I'm so happy for him. He's an executive producer for the series as well, so
Oh, nice. Okay.
yeah, he's very invested in it. And Buscemi is just a joy to watch in anything that he does, to be quite honest. So I'm just very happy for him. Aside from that, since the Olympics, the Summer Olympics, rather, have just ended, the Paralympics are coming up next. But something to look forward to, and I think to support as well for our Filipino athletes, would be the Winter Olympics, which is coming up next year. So I want everybody to just like get immersed in the world of figure skating at the very least. I think it's the most accessible for like all of the Winter Olympic sports. So support Michael Martinez, because it's an amazing feat for any Filipino, for anyone in a country without snow or ice, to be able to compete in the Winter Olympics. So we should just support the hell out of Michael Martinez for being able to do so. And Stan Yuzuru Hanyu for Clear Skin. He is changing the game, and just like the best, for me at least, at what he does. The artistry and technique that this man has in figure skating is unparalleled. So go watch those two athletes just to understand the sport and appreciate the artistry and skill behind it. So those are my two recommendations: figure skating and Miracle Workers.
Ako na ba?
Go, Jace. Go ahead.
Okay, fine. So my first recommendation is just what I've been watching in general, which is Jujutsu Kaisen. I just finished it. It's on Netflix. It's pretty cool. It's pretty good. I went in knowing nothing, and I suggest everyone go in knowing nothing about it. It's pretty nice. Sunod ko is Demon Slayer. I'm starting on Demon Slayer today. Paula, okay.
Going insane.
And then tonight, apart from Demon Slayer, I'm starting on the Cinemalaya films.
Yes.
Actually, kami, we have a film actually sa Gawad Alternativo. It's called Cajon. It was made by our entire batch ng Ricky Lee Screenwriting Workshop. So, ayun, it's in Gawad Alternativo, so it's I think accessible to all. I think it's free to watch. It's pretty nice. I like it. So and the people who made it are pretty talented. Ano po ba? May plug po ba ako? Para wala naman right now. But yeah, generally, like, I suggest na people start meron pang isa, sorry. Really, really, really quick. Hanapin ko lang yung pangalan. I think it's LF. Oh, yun. Two things. One is Rock of Ages is still streaming online. It's
Really?
So if you're free to watch that, please watch that. It's really, really amazing. Maraming tickets online. And then yung last is I got invited to review this interactive theater performance called LF New Hire. It's by Teatro 77 in Shure. So it's like an online interactive experience. Papanoorin ko pa lang siya, but I really trust like the director. I hope it's nice. But I think this is the first time na may interactive theater thing sa Philippines. It's kind of like Bandersnatch, which is a feat for Filipinos and not for like a hugely funded thing like Black Mirror, right? So ayun. Those are my recommendations.
Okay, I can go next. Well, yun nga, for the past 2 weeks, I've turned off pop culture, had to focus on the Olympics. And so I'm easing back again into the pop culture scheme. Like, so yun nga, I watched Suicide Squad. I'm still watching The Office as like like a background na keep me grounded lang. I'm in the middle of season 5 and I'm having so much fun. Oh my god, I'm so happy that I'm finally getting to see this. But yun nga, I already have some movies that I missed out on. I'm getting ready to watch Jungle Cruise and Pig.
Hmm.
So I'm just happy to be watching movies again. And yun nga, like Paula said, na the Paralympics are coming up. It'll start on August 24, and we have 6 Filipino athletes competing in 4 different sports. So that'll be something. I hope I get to give them more coverage, like give them more exposure, because all our athletes need as much support as they need. And yes, tama. Michael Martinez needs help. He needs funding. So
Yes.
let's give him all the support that we can. And I guess the only suggestion I have is What If has started already. So Marvel's What If. First episode, okay, pretty good. I really like the animation style of it, and I can't wait to see the other episodes, especially that they haven't teased yet. I hope they didn't show everything yet. So it's a bit different from what Marvel has been doing, especially series wise. And I guess I am just preparing to hear Chadwick one last time. That will be something that will
Ready to
probably get
sob.
me down. But yun nga. So yun,
There are 3 episodes now of Chadwick, apparently.
Oh my god!
Not just the one. So the
Ah!
first one will be the Guardians one, which I think is episode 2, if I believe. And there will be 2 other Chadwick episodes pa daw after that. But just to add, yeah, I mean, I think this is the beginning of like a Marvel Studios animation parang subsidiary. So that's interesting to see where they will go from here. Although as of recording, I haven't seen the first episode yet, and I will after this. Yun. Anything else, Prince?
So as you mean like Marvel animation under Disney, ganon?
Under Marvel Studios.
Yeah.
directly.
I hope they continue, because I mean Marvel has had animated movies before. Like I have had glimpses of like an Iron Man movie and a Black Widow movie on TV. But this one talaga, maganda yung style ng how the animation niya. So if they could get to continue this, I think it'll be something pretty exciting.
Yeah, because parang DC is the forefront in comic book
series,
animated movies.
Yes.
But
Oh, yeah.
Marvel has fallen flat recent, at least compared to the live action ones. But this one's a great start, as Prince says. And as a lot of critics who have watched the first 3 episodes are saying as well. So it's pretty exciting stuff. Dren?
Did I really do Friendship Onion last time? Did I recommend that last time?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna recommend it again. It's so good, and it's my favorite. And I'm just re-listening to episodes, so I haven't listened to anything else. Although Red Velvet's coming back this month.
Yes, Queens.
I'm just gonna recommend that ahead of time because I know it's gonna be good because it's Red Velvet. So listen to Red Velvet. The
The album packaging alone looks
it looks so
something
good.
I want
And
already.
the Friendship Onion, the most recent episode, 2 episodes featured Stephen Colbert, which is really, really cool.
Oh,
And
nice.
he talks about like not only Lord of the Rings, but like his entire process of running the Colbert Show, which is super interesting.
Wow.
So, like literally from like the day, like the moment he gets up to when he goes to bed, he talks about like what he goes through, which is, I don't know, it's really, really interesting. So yeah, the Friendship Onion for movies, I'm gonna recommend this movie that like flew under the radar, and I only found out about like tail end of last year. I'm really happy that I did. It's called Paper Tigers, and it's about 3 middle-aged dudes who once took like karate lessons, like everyone does, forced by your parents to take karate lessons, but they were all really fantastic at it. And then one day, when they're much older, they found out that their master passes away, and they don't think that he died of natural causes. They think somebody killed him. So to avenge him, they have to relearn what they learned when they were kids, like kung fu, and so they have to go avenge him. And it's hilarious. It's so good. I don't know if anyone here watches VFX artists react, but there's a guy that appears on there named Guy De Silva, who is a stuntman that's very like kind of famous on YouTube and like Instagram and stuff. and he's in the film. That's how I found out about it. It's hilarious. The action's great. It's super light, like just super wholesome and light. And watch it.
Oh my God, may habol pala ako that
Ako rin, pero go
didn't
mauna ka na,
realize.
Paula.
That I forgot. Ted
rin.
Lasso season 2 is
All
currently
right.
airing, and just watch it, guys. Like if you need wholesome, like genuinely funny, but also like very like lighthearted comedy, it's such a great watch. It makes you feel so good about yourself, and I think we all need that in this time. So watch Ted Lasso and Jason Sudeikis, like me and you when. Like, come on, let's make it happen, Jason Sudeikis. Let's go. All right, that's me.
And for me, may habol din ako dalawa. Also work-related, but I feel like everyone should watch it because it's completely new to what I've been seeing in the local industry. This is a music video called Chakra Operation 1090, and Chakra is a kind of like, I would say, the Avengers of the underground hip hop scene, because they are individual artists like Flick G, Smuglas, Abaddon, if you've heard of them. They're in a eight-member group called Chakra, which has been active for the last 8-10 years na yata, and they came back. They had a comeback called Operation 1090, which is a whole cinematic song and music video together. It's a beginning of a Chakra cinematic universe and they're like the fastest rappers in the underground scene. So it blends together hip hop and a cinematic music video and a story within the rap or the bars that they're doing. So it's something definitely worth checking out. I myself, I'm not a super hip hop inclined person, but working on this and seeing the actual response to it live before my eyes, it's like crazy and deserves to be seen and watched by more of a mainstream audience. And finally, I've been watching this. I'm just halfway. Netflix show it's a K-drama called Nevertheless, which is, oh my gosh, nakakagigil, grabe. I haven't watched a K-drama in a while, but this one, it's just, I feel like very relatable to a lot of people, mga marurupok sa marurupok dyan sa Pilipinas, which I feel like is everyone at some point in their lives. If you want your giggle moments and relate, parang mainis ka sa sarili mo dahil alam mong mga ugali mo rin yan. Nevertheless, it's like a really fun show and nakakakilig din siya, as in manggigigil ka sa kilig saka sa inis, and the lead actors are just also so gorgeous and the story is just really engaging in that way. It's also based on a webtoon, so that's Nevertheless on Netflix, and Chakra's Operation 1090. I think the people of this group will enjoy that Chakra one. Super grabe. So yun, those are our recommendations for the week. Of course, thank you to everyone here for joining this episode. It was a fun read episode, coincidentally. And of course, we're looking forward to more episodes in the coming weeks. Of course, all our previous episodes are streaming on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you stream your podcasts. Of course, we're also here. You can look back at our video episodes here on Radio-Katipunan 87.9 FM. Thank you to the Radio-Katipunan fam. And of course, go follow our social media accounts, which are still trying to be revived at some point. That's at Popcorn with Cholo, at Popcorn W Cholo on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And we will all see you all next time. Thanks, Paula, Dren, Jace, and Perns. Bye.
Yay, bye-bye.
Annyeong.
This is your stop for all things pop. Catch our all-around pop culture geek, Cholo Sediaren, as he throws in some dose of what's poppin' and what's hot in the pop culture scene here on Popcorn. Munch in with us every Thursdays from 4 to 6, only here on Radio-Katipunan 87.9 FM. Radio-Katipunan. News, Insights, inspiration. Radyo-katipunan. Down from the hill and down to the world. Radyo-katipunan. The voice of the Blue Eagle.